Hello and welcome to Season 3 of The Adventurous Way. Today we're going to give you some behind the scenes on what we got up to as we started Season 3, our adventures around Colorado.
At the end of Season 2, we left off at northern New Mexico and then we drove north to Durango area in Colorado.
But the drive up there wasn't quite as uneventful as maybe we'd hoped. We were heading up to Durango to do a wilderness first aid course, and we'd been looking out for one of these for a while online. And we'd eventually found this one that we wanted to do, but we had to go and pay in person. We had to go and sort of rock up to the place and pay there. So we thought we would do that on our way through Durango, but we had the trailer in tow. And Google Maps, frankly, screwed us over. It took us down this private road, and we ended up in a situation outside of these houses, in some like woodland, surrounded by trees, with the trailer behind us, and no real good place to turn around.
You did a valiant effort.
I made a valiant but failed attempt at turning around, I think is probably the best way to put that. We were a little bit nervous. There's these houses around, so I didn't want Diana getting out of the car. We didn't know who was around, and there were some dogs and things. So I tried to back up on my own, and then we heard a crunch. Not my finest moment. I had reversed into a tree. However, I hadn't reversed the trailer into a tree. I'd reversed the truck into a tree. We were so jackknifed that the back of the truck had actually just very slowly, we were doing like 1 mile an hour, it had just bumped into this giant 18-inch thick tree.
And ironically, it was the reversing sensor that got hit by the tree.
I crashed the reverse sensor into the tree. The trailer, however, was unharmed. It missed the trailer, I think only by a couple of inches. I think we were lucky. And it has left a bit of a dent in the back of the truck. So that was our first foray, I guess, up into Colorado. But we got registered for the course and we went and camped over with our friend Cass, just outside of Durango.
Yeah, that boondocking area near Mancos, we ended up going there several times during the summer of Colorado.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a beautiful spot.
And it's just quiet and peaceful, and we love it. We've been there 4 times now, I think.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So kudos to Cass for finding that one.
And then, so why did we do the wilderness first aid course? Well, first of all, we spent a lot of time outdoors, and being prepared, that's kind of our game. That's what we like to do.
And what we'd actually looked at doing one of these wilderness first aid courses even before we hit the road, just knowing how much we were going to be doing kind of outdoors. And one of the things we found out about them is that depending on where you do it in the country, they kind of tailor the course to some of the local conditions.
Yep.
So we felt what a great opportunity, just as we're arriving into Colorado, to do the wilderness first aid course in Colorado, and I guess kind of learn some of the local things that we might need to worry about in terms of landscape and animals and weather conditions and everything else.
So one thing that we learned is about weather patterns in Colorado. Pretty much every day it just rains and thunderstorms in the afternoon.
In summer.
In summer, and it is not safe to be hiking up on high peaks in the afternoons. So that really was helpful in planning our hikes for the rest of the season.
And not only that, but we actually met some really cool people as well, and we'll tell you more about that in just a minute.
So the course was 2 days.
It's really hands-on. So we were sort of simulating things. We would go and split into groups, and some of us would go and lie down and pretend to have a certain affliction or whatever, and the others would have to come and find us and try and deal with the situation. We'll put a link in the description below if you want to check out that course. I really recommend doing one if you do find yourself out and about in the wilderness very often.
And it's put together by NOLS organization, N-O-L-S.
So from Durango, we moved just slightly further east over to the town of Bayfield. And Bayfield, we decided to base ourselves there for, just under 2 weeks, I think it was, because I was taking part in a Habitat for Humanity build. Now, if you've seen some of the blog posts on our website, you'll know that I love doing mods and I love building things and making things. And I just hadn't been able to scratch this itch enough in the RV. So I decided to sign up for this Habitat for Humanity volunteering effort. And what we did there is we helped to build a house for someone in need. And no prior experience is needed. You don't need to know anything more than just how to use a hammer, basically. They will teach you everything you need to know from that point onwards. It was super, super good fun. So we camped up in Bayfield for I think it was about 10 days, was it? 11 days?
And it was a really nice boondocking spot. It was on national forest, and we had some neighbors in forms of cows, lots of hiking and running trails around. So I really enjoyed that area.
And while we were boondocking in Bayfield, we found ourselves camping next door to Dan and Jen Nevada. So we got to know them a bit better, and it was super cool just to spend some time chatting with them. Turns out they were brand new to the Xscapers group as well, and were heading towards Salida for their first ever Convergence. And we were able to share with them some of the things that we had found from our experience at Xscapers.
We also camped there with Cass from Tales of Wanderlust. And a highlight for me was me and Cass, we had a girls' weekend, and we took Jasper, Cass's dog, and we went backpacking. And that was super fun. We saw a moose, and we didn't go too far because this was the first time Jasper was going backpacking. But we camped at this beautiful lake. You'll be able to see more of that in the upcoming video.
And while they were out having fun with the camping, I was stuck back at base looking after the trailers and looking after Cass's cat Napoleon. He's an awkward little cat at times, but we made it through just about, so that was good fun as well. From Bayfield though, we headed further east again towards Salida, stopping this time at Pagosa Springs.
We went to hot springs in Pagosa Springs, and that was very, very nice.
It was. We'd had a recommendation from a friend of exactly where to go there. And while we're in Pagosa Springs, actually some of the people that we'd been on the Wilderness First Aid course, they said, you cannot come through this area without coming over for dinner. Twice. So we joined them twice for dinner, which was absolutely fantastic. They were fantastic hosts, and we had a wonderful time and some great food. And it was good to meet some people from the area and learn more about the area as well. I think oftentimes when we're just traveling, we don't spend a lot of time talking to people who live in the area because we're kind of tourists moving through, let's be honest. So it was really nice to be able to chat with them and just learn more about that area. And it is a beautiful, beautiful place.
The bakery there is also pretty good.
Again, somewhere we stopped multiple times.
Yes.
Then from Pagosa Springs, we continued our journey east through Colorado. We towed the trailer up Wolf Creek Pass, which is a pretty steep mountain road, but the truck and the trailer did great. And we stopped right at the top, actually on the Continental Divide, as it goes through there.
Yep.
And then as we made it to the top, it was then a long run down the other side. Again, truck and trailer both did great. Our ultimate destination though was Poncha Springs and Salida.
Yeah, where we joined Xscapers for 4th of July Xscapers Convergence. But the first stop was boondocking near Salida up in the mountains in Shavano.
There was a lot of Xscapers in the area just before the Convergence. And we spent a lot of time with them, just having fun, getting some work done as well, but also going out on some off-road trips. The mountains around that area are just incredible. And we had a lot of fun taking the truck out, joining a load of guys in Jeeps and people, someone's got an Xterra, and we just had a lot of fun heading out there. A lot of places still had snow.
Yeah.
And so some of the places we were going, as you climb up and up and up, you eventually hit the snow line, even in, late June, early July. So that was a pretty awesome experience. I really enjoyed that.
I also tried more running and more bicycling, and soon enough I learned that all those things are much harder to do at 8,000 feet of elevation.
But at the Convergence itself, it was really more of the same. The activities, the off-roading, the fun just continued. That was a fantastic Convergence though. How many rigs were there? 120 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
So it was like a pretty good size of event, but just such a fun group, so supportive. People just going out of their way to help one another. We really enjoyed being back around that group.
One of the things we did with pretty much the whole group, we went whitewater rafting, and that was super fun. I don't think I've done whitewater rafting in a long time
since I've done it.
Definitely not in Colorado, and that was a high water season because of the really long winter.
That had a really wet, cold winter last year, and so we got all the benefits of that for whitewater rafting.
So that was super fun. Also, it was 4th of July, so we got to participate in the 4th of July parade.
Yes, the Salida puts on this parade, and the Xscapers group had got our place in there with a float. But if you've learned anything about the Xscapers by now, you know that we don't do things by halves. We had a pretty incredible float. We had a semi-truck towing a fifth wheel, towing a Jeep, towing a casita, towing a little cart. So we had this huge train just moving through downtown Salida.
After Salida, we headed to Denver, Colorado. And there we went to the airport. And no, it wasn't us who were flying. We were there to pick somebody up. And that was my brother, Janis. He's also Latvian, he lives in Poland, and this was his first trip to the United States.
And for his first trip to the US, he was going to be staying with us in our RV for 2 weeks as we took him to see some of the national park units around the state.
Our first stop was Rocky Mountain National Park, where we did lots of hiking and camping.
And from there, we moved actually pretty quickly. He was only there for 2 weeks and we wanted to get in as much as we could. So we made a whistle-stop tour down to Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park, further on down to Curacanti National Recreation Area, before heading back over to Mesa Verde National Park, which was really, really astonishing.
And then after that, we went to Great Sand Dunes National Park, which we thought would be, just a regular stop as always, but it turned out anything but.
We had quite the adventure there. It was really not what we expected at all, and in fact I don't think what anybody expected. What should have been a simple day trip turned into something a lot bigger and involved us calling 911 to get us out of that situation. So stay tuned for that video.
After that, we headed back to Denver, Colorado, where we dropped off my brother at the airport.
And from there we headed back through Colorado, really the way we came. We stopped in for a little while at Leadville, which is one of the highest places we've ever camped, over 10,000 feet elevation, which was really good fun, and we were lucky the weather was pretty good while we were there. We then continued back over to Durango, again to our favourite boondocking spot, before we headed up around about, August time, mid-August, up to Colorado National Monument. We've been there before a few years back, but this was the first time we were visiting with the RV, and Diana did some cycling there as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one to see.
And then after that, we headed to Dinosaur National Monument, which turns out is not just about dinosaurs, but also river rafting.
We then lined up this trip where we wanted to go to La Grande, Oregon to go and see the Outdoors RV factory. So we did this long, nearly 2,000 mile road trip, I think it was, from Colorado all the way up through Utah, where we stopped at Golden Spike National Monument on the way, before heading up through Idaho all the way to Oregon to see Outdoors RV. From there, we came back down through Nevada, stopped in at Sparks to go and see Battleborn and their new factory, before making our way back to, yet again, our favourite boondocking spot near Durango in Colorado.
And those videos about the Outdoors RV factory tour and Battleborn factory tour, those videos already are on our channel.
And then when we camped at Durango for the last time, we took the opportunity to go and see Yucca House National Monument, which is one of the more difficult national monuments to get a ranger guided tour around. So we had to time that one pretty carefully. So season 3 is lining up to be an amazing journey through Colorado, as we have lots and lots of adventures visiting all of the national park units. You do not want to miss some of the things that we've got coming up. So make sure, if you're not already, that you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so you find out when our new videos are published.
See you next time.
Who's doing the intro?
You're doing intro.
Are we going to make this funny
Sure.
and conversational?
Yeah, I'll try as much as I can.
Just try and be funny.
I'll try and I'll cut you off and then you'll cut me off and,
And you can edit it to make us look really good.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wait, let me judge. How do I look?
You look beautiful as always, my darling.
I didn't even look at my face.
I had a memory of what you look like.
In the previous video, we left you off at the northern part
We didn't leave them off. We left off.
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't leave them at the border. They're still with us. Right, that's what you're getting from me because my leg's going dead.